Fresh out of the oven, boys. Balance mod update October 9th, 2K18. Just came out. Literally just came out. We hope you had fun watching the GSL Super Tournament event. We certainly did. The matches were really exciting, and we're that much closer to crowning a champion at the Global Finals at BlizzCon. That said, all this excitement hasn't stopped us from paying attention to community feedback on a balanced S map. We're already planning to make some additional changes. Let's dig in. Let's dig in. Okay, Terran. So we saw no Terran changes last time. Okay. It was just Protoss and Zerg. Now before I open this, I saw there was a lot of Terran changes. Let's go into it. Cyclone unit changed to 3.8 version. Was that when Cyclones were good? Hold up. Now requires the tech lab to be built at the factory. Okay, you're getting me a little warm on the inside. Health decreased from 180 to 120. Movement speed increased. The old Cyclones are back. Supply increased from 3 to 4. Unit armor set to 1. Tornado blaster weapon changed to Typhoon missile pod weapon. They brought the old Cyclone back. Yes. Okay, for those that maybe don't know, maybe you're newer to StarCraft, the old Cyclones were much more squishy. As you can see, they had 120 health. They required a tech lab. The movement speed was faster. They took more soup. Now armor is back to 1. So the attack that they had, it's basically when you auto attack, it locks on. So the lock on that you have now was the auto attack before, but you could move while doing so, just like with this one. But you can target ground and air units. In the beta Cyclone, this is the beta Cyclone. I was massing Cyclones. I was disgusting. I was like. This is the moment. Okay, I'm excited. I'm sorry. When I saw this in beta, I was massing Cyclone Hellion against Zerg, and I was destroying everyone with it. Like, whatever comp they made, roaches, hydras, you can just get a lot of Cyclones, lock on, and to just kite away. It was amazing. Yes, it had counters, like mass slaying if you get surrounded, because they were squishy, or fungals, but they were so good. They were so good, and they were so fun to play with. These Cyclones we have today are garbage. They're boring. I'm not saying garbage as far as how good they are. I mean, they're also garbage balance-wise, but they're boring to use. These Cyclones are very nice. Oh my god, I love it. Okay. Weapon upgrades changed from +1 to +2 to account for the new damage value. Lock-on ability... Oh, changed. Oh, they mean like change. Okay. Ability can autocast, can now target ground and flying units and structures. Damage change from 160 to 400 damage over 14 seconds. So right now what we have against air deals 160 damage. You know that thing that doesn't do any damage to air units? Yeah, that's what we have now. It's going to deal 400 damage over 14 seconds. Someone do quick math. What's that damage a second? Because I'm not doing math on stream. Rapid fire launchers removed. Okay. Added mag field accelerator upgrade. After researching, lock-on will deal 400 damage plus 400 versus armored. Dude, this is sick. That's a lot of damage. You need flex tape to negate this damage. It's insane. Now Cyclones can be used against air when they actually do damage. Maybe a little bit too much damage, but hey, we'll see. I'm excited for this. I am excited. I've always said that these Cyclones we have now are boring. They don't do anything. They don't add interaction to the game. They're just boring, and you only use them in TVT or TVP super early game. These Cyclones, you know how Blizzard introduced Cyclone again back in Legacy of Beta as a unit that will help you establish your third base. I think that was their selling point for the Cyclones. That's what the Cyclone actually did. You go some Cyclones and you grab a third. You could also open up a lot of Cyclones against Protoss. Could you mass it and kill the Protoss units? No. But you could open like 4 or 6 Cyclones because you were building them out of Tech Lab. So you can't really mass them as quickly. But you could build them and you were safe against anything. Ground units, air units, and they were broken against Protoss in the beginning of the beta. The reason for that is Protoss didn't know how to deal with it. Obviously, it was beta. But then the counter to it is Blink Stalkers. Every time you lock in, the Protoss blinks out, and you're screwed. So I am super excited for the change. Okay, when Legacy to avoid first launch, the Cyclone was quite different, requiring a Tech Lab, sporting lower durability, and having the ability to lock onto both air and ground targets. The Cyclone acted as an assassination tool. You could pick a target and destroy it, assuming the player gave enough micro attention to keep it moving and out of harm's way. These Cyclones were intended to pick off high-tech or tanky units from other races to give Terran more early to mid-game control, and the upgrade allowed it to scale better in the late game. This is actually very true. Like, you can actually destroy high HP and armored units. I remember melting Ultralisks with these Cyclones. They were super good. You could destroy battlecruiser with these. And again, you can't just A-move them because they had really low health. But it gave a lot of micro potential in order to get as much damage done. In patch 3.8, we changed the Cyclone into a frontline unit that could provide early game firepower. Never did. It only took the early game firepower. It was terrible. While the meta has shifted, yes, you have some cheeses these days with the reactor Cyclones, but they're not a good unit and they're not fun to use. While the meta has shifted back and forth since then, the frontline Cyclone did its job well. Did it though? But there are concerns that early game Terran strategies, especially for proxies, have become almost too varied for opponents to handle. Have they though? When was the... what? Okay. I mean, if that's what made them change, okay, sure. Reactor Cyclone proxies were insane, guys. We needed to change them. At the same time, there's still room to give Terrans a way to trade against opponents in the mid and late game without going all in. Okay, I see that, yeah. Because the Cyclones we have right now, you can't really trade. I agree with that statement. You're either all in or you make 2 for safety and that's it, right? That's it. Like, you don't really poke with them, if that makes sense. With these new ones, aka the old ones, I'm not sure how to call them, the old ones or the new ones. I'll call them the new Cyclones. Okay. You can trade a lot more. There's a lot more micro potential. Oh, is it Mara? Well, I didn't. Okay, well, whatever. Good job, Mara. We started seeing more innovative uses of the Cyclone in pro level matches. For these reasons, we want to experiment with reinstating the pre-3.8 Cyclone. Okay. I love it. What can I say? I love it. I always complain about the Cyclones we have today. I always found them boring. Again, not necessarily they're too weak for... obviously, they were used in all-ins, like it says, against Protoss and in TVT. I just found it boring and I hated them because of that. Okay, next one. Battlecruiser will no longer switch target... will no longer switch attack targets while moving unless ordered to do so or the current target leaves its range. So basically now, if you lock onto a target and the target runs like a little bit further away from the previous unit, it will change the target to the previous unit. So what they're doing is, if you lock onto the target, unless it gets out of range of the auto attack, it will not stop attacking it. This is something I actually wish there was a mode you can switch it from and to. Because I think some people will prefer this one, some people will prefer the old one. So it's not a balance change. It's not even a fix. They just changed the way that battlecruisers work. Now they gave it like a lock-on in a way, right? Like if you start attacking, it's locked onto the target. Is that good or bad? I don't think it's neither of those things. I think it depends on the person. Because what that means is, if your battlecruiser locks onto a immortal and then the stalkers are shooting it, it's still gonna shoot the immortal, and that's kind of like, is that good? Probably not. Previously, the battlecruiser will continuously reevaluate threats while moving, often switching targets. Our aim is to give more control to the player. So battlecruiser will now consistently remember their targets while moving. I don't know, this kind of seems to me that it's taking away the control from the players. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but I think by locking on to the wrong target, the thing is, I know, like, yes, you can always click to switch the targets, but you can also do that right now, right? If it's moving, you can switch the targets to whatever you want. I'm not sure. I guess this makes it easier. Like once you're locked in. Not sure. We'll see how it plays out in games. Hydralisk attack speed changed from 0.57 to 0.59. In the last test balance, we changed the Hydralisk attack speed from 0.54 to 0.57. Instead of reducing its health by 5 HP, we still like the direction of this change, but agree with feedback that we need to go a bit further before this change approaches what a 5 HP nerf would do. Thank you, Blizzard. Thank you. Thank you. That's what Papa Cutie said as well. 5 HP nerf to the 5.7 is not the same. 5 HP nerf was much bigger than reducing the attack speed to 5.7. So they're basically nerfing the attack speed a little bit more. So they'll be reverting the Hydralisk attack speed back to its Heart of the Swarm value, 0.59. Okay. Again, this is not a, the Hydras are not going to attack like a second slower. It's not a enormous change, but it is a nerf. And I'm actually surprised about this change, though. I'm actually surprised. But, yeah. Thumbs up for me. I know, I don't like Hydras. What can I say? If they nerfed Hydras, I like the change. Protoss. Okay, those are only the Zerg changes, but we saw a lot of the changes in the previous patch as well. So, let's go into the Protoss changes. Dark Shrine. Oh, Dark Shrine change. Shadow Stride research reduced from 121 to 100. Shadow Stride cooldown reduced from 21 to 14. The prospect of Blink Dark Templars when they were first introduced was a frightening nightmare for some. I remember that. I remember when this was introduced, people were like, they can blink now? Are you insane? I remember that. People were crying. Like when they announced that DTs can have blink when they showed it in the video, people were like, no, remove this from the game, this is insane. But then we didn't see much of play from blink DTs anywhere. I mean, I see it once every 100 ladder games. You see it once every 100 pro matches, but other than that, not much. Would like to try adjustments to both research time and cooldown and then reevaluate the results. Okay, so I'm someone that likes to, when I play Protoss, I like to experiment with DTs as well. If you guys remember, maybe a month ago, I was very, very focused on Dark Templar openings, especially against Terran. And what I would do is that I open a bunch of Terrans, get an Observer or Hallucination, blink into the Terran base, main base, wait for the cooldown to refresh, start harassing, and then kind of just start blinking your DTs everywhere. So I like this change. Is this the change that will, make DTs broken? I don't think so. DTs are the scariest when they arrive, whether they have... Oh, they don't need, blink to be scary. You guys probably know no matter what race you are, blinks... Dark Templars, excuse me, are the scariest when they arrive at your base, and if you don't have detection, that's kind of like, you know, the moment. So reducing the research time by 21 seconds is a buff, but don't think it will break the game in any way. Shadow Strike cooldown reduced from 21 to 14, so again, giving the DTs, I guess, a little bit more usage. So just another little buff. I mean, I'm not sure. I definitely see like someone like SOS, you know, maybe go more for Dark Templar openings, but DT as a unit is kind of like Cloak Banshee, but I feel like even more all in. Like if you go Dark Templar tech super early, you're very committed, like very, very committed to them. But you know, I like that they're trying to make them more common. Carrier. Interceptor damage changed from 8 damage times 1 to 5 damage times 2. So they're reverting. Interceptors will get +1 times 2 per air attack upgrade instead of +1. Okay, so this is just reverted. Interceptor release period changed from 0.36 to 0.27. We've gotten feedback that carriers are a bit weaker than our ideal target power level. Thus, would like to make a few changes that will bring them closer to their previous damage output. In addition to their damage values being reverted, we'd like to decrease interceptor release periods so they'll launch at a rate between the pre and post graviton catapult upgrade rates. Okay, so you guys that watch my stream or watch my YouTube know that this is another change that I did not agree with when they made the change initially. I wasn't sure how the 8 times 1 damage will work out, but once I tested it in the games, it was very clear that carriers are complete garbage. Like, you could just kill interceptors and that is it. Now, will this make interceptors good again? I don't think so. Now, I'm going to say my reasons why. First things first. So you won't need to get graviton catapult still, but your interceptors are still not launching as fast, so they're putting it at the kind of like the middle of no upgrade to graviton catapult. That's good. Them reverting these changes, it's better. The biggest problem that carriers had wasn't the damage. The damage was obviously, it was nerfed, right? It was changed, but it was a nerf. The biggest problem that carriers had in the test map that I covered in the previous video was that the interceptor build time was almost twice as long as what we have now in the game, and that was the real issue. When I played games against Zergs and Terrans, they never bothered to go for carriers, they just killed the interceptors. And what you have right now on the live server is, if they kill your interceptor, you trade out for their real units, right? You lose the interceptors, then you pull back, and the I might be wrong, but the interceptor build time right now is 6 seconds, and it was changed to 11. That was the real issue, because once you lose the interceptors, you get rolled over. That was the real problem. Now, I think Blizzard looked at the interceptor remaking period completely the wrong way. So, if interceptors are building in 6 seconds and you have 8 interceptors, that's 48. Math on stream. That is 48. So you can't increase the build time to 11 because that's such an insane increase, right? It goes from 8 times 6, 48 to build 8 interceptors to rebuild all them if you lose them against enemy. They went to 88 seconds. That is a lot of time. And that is the real problem with the carriers. And even though this is a buff, it's not really buff, they're just, reducing the nerf a little bit. The real problem isn't this. It is the It is the interceptor rebuild time. I like that. Okay, next one. I will check who donated a little bit later. I'm very, very into this. Gateway transformed to Warp Gate will now be an autocast ability. Wait, wasn't this already in? Wasn't this already in before? Previous iterations of the automated warp gate change caused a bit of confusion. Some gateways would automatically transform to warp gates, while others wouldn't. Wait, what? Some gateways would automatically transform while others wouldn't, so it was bugged. We'd like to re-implement this change as an autocast ability, which should better communicate to players what is happening and provide more control over which gateways transform. As always, we'd like to reiterate that these changes are not final. We're actively looking at your feedback. Some specific concerns that we are continuing to look. Okay. Let me talk about this for a bit. So I'm confused. So some gateways wouldn't transform. So does that mean there was a bug in the game? If all of them were supposed to transform and some didn't, that was bugged, no? So now they're implementing an autocast ability. But is this... Do you auto-click it in the cybercore? On the gateway? If you click it on one gateway, is it turned on for all gateways? Do you have to select all gateways and click autocast? But then if you do that, then you might as well just... It was just incident research, now it's autocast. Oh, gateways that were already built would not... Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're saying if you had 3 gateways while researching the warp gate, they wouldn't transform. But after getting the warp gate, if you build gateways, they would transform, right? Okay. So this is like a fix, I guess. As always, we'd like to reiterate that this change is not final. We'll be actively looking at your feedback. Some specific concerns that we're continuing to look into include TVZ and the strength of Mutalisks against both Bio and Mech. Do they mean weakness of Mutalisks? Mutalisks are trash against Terran. I'm not sure if this is worded poorly. Are they saying that mutas are strong in TVZ? They can't. No. Or maybe because English is not my native. Maybe I'm being dumb. I'm gonna assume that they're saying that mutas are not that good, so they're looking into like how to fix it. Okay. Anyway, TVP early game with the strength of proxies. See, Blizzard. One thing I'm gonna say. I agree that. Okay, so let me think about this. So I agree that TVP early game proxies favor Terran. Like Terran proxying puts Terran in a little bit of an advantage over Protoss, because Protoss doesn't know what Terran is specifically proxying. But you have to ask yourself, why do Terrans proxy? It's because Terran is complete shit against Protoss in a straight up gameplay. That's why every Terran is proxying these days. That's why Maro is winning games. And that's why he's proxying. Because he wants to win. So, I will agree with Blizzard. Nerf proxies in some way. But you have to compensate for that. And give Terran actual openings. And actual viable builds and playstyles in TVP in mid-game. Because Terran is doing either proxies or 2-base all-ins. Because it's trash. Once Terran reaches the state of the game where Protoss has Disruptors, Colossus, and Storm, Tempest, Carriers, and so on. And I've went over this many times, where Terran, in theory, right, they have battle cruisers, they have ghosts, and they can EMP, and they can do this. And someone might even mention, oh, did you see TY win a game against this guy? That's all great. It works out for Terran sometimes, but majority of the times, I would say 80% plus, it works way better for Protoss if the game gets to the late game. So that's what I have to say about that. And then ZP mid-game and the openers and the compositions leading up to it. Now, this is something I 100% agree. So you guys know I've been playing a lot more Protoss recently, and playing all 4 races. Random is race 2. Let's not get into that. On GM level. And I agree that the CVP is very streamlined. Most of the games are Zerg either doing a Hydra Link bust or Roach bust of like 50 drones, or they're just going for 70 drones into Mass Link Bay and Hydra and just slamming into Protoss. Yes, there are some games with Muta switches and lurkers, and then from the Protoss side, you pretty much have 2 openings. I guess 3, but Twilight Council openings are really YOLO. Like, if you go Twilight Council at depths and you face Link Roach Olin, you're just dead. But Protoss most of the time does Stargate builds, and it's kind of more or less every game the same. So I definitely agree with them if that's what they meant with that. But I do think they need to kind of like spice it up a little bit. In addition, we'll continuously be looking at late game balance among all races as per our initial design goals for the post BlizzCon update. Thanks for testing out the changes. Please let us know what you think on the forums or through your preferred community sites. Okay, so this was the balance mode update, October 9th. The previous balance update, you guys know I was very against. I did not agree with almost any changes. I thought it was a terrible update. It seems that they're reverting on some of the things they've said in the previous one. They recognize some of the kind of problems with some of the suggestions they had. They're changing the Cyclone, which I'm very excited about. Overall, I think this is a positive balance mode update. For me, at least. And again, feel free to call me biased. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I'm liking the changes. I'm liking the openness of Blizzard in this one, saying that, oh, we're looking into this, and this. So yeah, I would say overall a good patch. This is my favorite part. I mean, I can't be negative after this one. Love it. But that's it. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know what your opinion on this balance patch update is. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and make sure to check out one of my previous videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.